Hello again. So this is another tutorial, a shorter one this time, and this is for the Colour Book Love Heart on my super duper awesome Valentine's Day set. Okay, so I've got two colours, White Out by Trilogy and Chili Pepper by Trilogy. I have my brush, I have my monomer, I have a file, and I have my craft knife from Amazon. So the way I'm working is I'm creating a loose, like, rectangular shape. Oh, I don't just have those. No. Sorry, I am still creating a loose rectangular shape, but I also have a fondant cutter. Yes, I do, which I am using to press out the love heart shape. Okay, so there we go. Cut it to shape. And it made it a bit wide, so I'm just like dragging the excess off. Now it's important to work very, quite dry with your acrylics when you're doing stuff like 3D work, because if it's wet it's going to blob everywhere and you're not going to be able to get it to shape. The way that I'm doing it is I'm doing it in two stages, a white stage and then a red stage. I'm starting in the middle and I'm working my way out with each particular block of colour. It's all the same process. It's all very time consuming, but it probably do only take about 20 minutes, but that's still too long. I don't know, maybe it's not too long. So I place the colour down, and when it's dry enough I use the fondant cutter to cut to shape, and I don't want that excess there, so I'm scraping it off. I'm just going to I have to make sure that it's set properly, because if it's not, by the time I come to cut it all again, it's going to be a bit rubbish. So dry bead of chili pepper, I'm alternating the colours, dragging it down a bit. And now I'm just going to cut a flat edge, because that's what I want. I don't know how to explain it, but you'll see the finished design. I want it to be a certain way anyway. I think you can have a different style of this, but it was my first try, and excuse me, and I just really wanted to do it simple because it was the first time. Some people practice before they do stuff like this, and that is good for them, and it probably makes them better and their work better. But that's not me. I'm just, fuck it, let's get on with it and do it. So that's what I do. Sorry for the swear, but that is exactly what I do. So yeah, and I'm repeating the exact same process, but with the white, and the only difference is on the reverse side. For the side walls, because obviously your client's nail isn't flat, I do actually roll this cutter a little bit, can you see? And then I drag it off, and so then I'm going to fill in the opposing colours, a bit like, can you see anyway? So it's like the opposite colours are always touching. I'm going to use my craft knife to cut to shape. So with the bottom of the heart, I've not used my fondant cutter for that. I've just used my craft knife because that's got a straight edge. I don't need to cut it out because I'm going to create a gap then if I do that. That was just giving me a good idea. I wonder if I did do that, whether I could then fill it in with like a different colour of acrylic. It'd be like this super cool outline. Anyway, lest we be digressing. And I'm going to repeat the step with white. So, sorry, I know you probably have heard me say this before, but I have asthma, so I get quite wheezy sometimes. And as with my other long video, I am sat in the car and my son's asleep in his car seat. It's a bit warm. I've got the heating on because it's like 10 degrees outside and he'll be cold and annoying me. So yeah, it was making me wheeze a little bit because it's a bit dry. So now this bit next, I have just gone 1 2 1 2 and one after the other, but if you're doing this, don't do what I'm doing, do it differently. don't put the red in, put the white in the corner in the little curve, because it was a lot harder than it should have been, because I had to cut it to shape, which is fine and it works, but then to get the excess that I've cut off, I have to scrape it out, can you see? And that didn't work very well. So if I'm gonna do that again, which I just think I'm gonna do it again for a competition, I would actually do the curve bit first. It would just make it easier to scrape it all out, to be perfectly honest. But you can still do it my way because it still worked. You can still do it this way. Just makes it a little bit more faffy, I think, that's all. And then I've cut the bottom to shape just to make it nice and neat. I'm struggling to see what I'm actually doing right now. I think I'm about to cut it to shape now. Oh yeah, because, sorry, my voiceover screen is covering up all of my actual video screen. So it's too wet, so that's why it's dragging down like that. So I needed to leave it to set a bit more. But the other side is set, so not properly, but it's set more. So I'm just using my file just to create a really neat line to match up the other side, wiping over with some monomer on a brush to get it nice and like clean. And then I've gone into wet here, but I should have done it a bit drier, but it doesn't. I'm still going to be able to cut it. And yeah, so I'm applying chili pepper to one side. I'm going to apply white out the other side. When I'm going to just use my craft knife when it's gone a bit more matte. I'm going to cut a line. I'm going to drag it down. Just leave it again to set a bit, and then I can roll it off properly. You see, it's much better when it's a bit drier. But as you can see, it's not fully dry. That's why it's kind of dragged across the nail like jam. Like jam on toast. And then I'm happy with that. I don't need to file it because I've used a straight blade. And so I'm just neatening up the edges because I just made it a bit thicker actually, because when I held it away from me it wasn't wide enough. So, but I didn't need to show you that bit because it's exactly the same as what I did before. And then I'm going to come in now and put white out opposite. I was going to butt it right up to the edge of that line. And that is, yeah, that is way too much acrylic. So it's just gonna go bleh everywhere in a minute. What you don't see, because no one needs to see the little magician's secrets, although I'm gonna tell you anyway, is I actually pull it's like dripping off the edge. It's not wet, it's just too much, so where I pushed it, it's dripping. I just pulled it off with my gloves on my hands. And then I thought, oh god, that looks terrible, so then I had to sort it out with my file afterwards. So I'm just pushing it off with a wet brush, yeah, just to make it nice and neat. And then I'll file it to shape, I'll cap it, and voila, there is the finished result. You can see it here in this picture. So that's it basically. There's nothing more to it, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. Check out the full video. Another little clip link to it here. Yep, somewhere up at the top, just about now. Maybe a bit before, maybe a bit after, who knows. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I really would love it if you'd hit subscribe. Let me know what you think, if you're going to give it a go, okay? Have fun, have a nice one, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.